Hey guys, I'm going to do a Galaxy S3 versus iPhone 5 comparison. First we're going to go ahead with the actual phones themselves. You can see that the Galaxy S3 has a much bigger screen. It's wider, it's taller compared to the iPhone 5. It has a 4.8 inch AMOLED screen versus the iPhone 5's 4-inch LCD. Now, in terms of weight, the Galaxy S3 feels slightly heavier, but that might only be because it has more surface area. Here's the back of the phones. The iPhone 5 finally has a more sturdier backplate. It's made out of aluminum, whereas the Galaxy S3 is plastic, which is also very durable. I know not a lot of people have issues with plastic, but I much prefer plastic. If you ever drop it, it never really breaks. Both have 8 megapixel cameras, and as you can see, both phones are designed very nicely. Now let's go ahead and actually turn the phones on themselves. Oh, sorry, one more thing before we do that. Let's compare the thickness of the phones themselves. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the Galaxy S3 is slightly bigger. Like, if I run my fingers across here, I don't know if you can sort of tell, but the Galaxy S3 is a little bit bigger compared to the iPhone 5. So the iPhone 5 is in fact thinner. Now, okay, so let's go ahead and turn both of these phones on. Sorry, it's kind of awkward doing this. So the iPhone 5 actually beat out the Galaxy S3 by like about a second, not very much actually. Now, obviously, the Galaxy S3 is running Android versus the iPhone is running iOS. I actually think TouchWiz UX is actually, it's not that bad in terms of aesthetics. For performance, it's not where I think it should be. This might become better with a Jelly Bean update that hasn't come out yet. It's been leaked in some places, so I might go ahead and do another comparison video when it does come out. But both phones are very nice. I actually think the S3 screen is really nice. The iPhone 5 has a really nice screen as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and compare some apps on both of these phones. I'm going to get started with Angry Birds first. So the iPhone 5 actually won, even with the whole Game Center thing, which is it's pretty shocking. It does have the A6 processor, which a lot of people say is better than the Galaxy S3's processor. This is the GSM variant. Okay, now let's try actually playing this game. See if there's any difference at all. Let's get started here. Honestly, both of them feel the exact same to me, so not really worth wasting time looking at Angry Birds. Let's get back to a couple more apps. This time I'm going to compare Flipboard. So it looked like it loaded faster on the iPhone 5. I've actually never loaded Flipboard on the S3 first, so let me just put them on the same page. Okay, so I'm just going to click on cover stories on both of them. let's check out the news section and see which pictures and stuff load faster. The iPhone 5 seems to be like having some touch responses. As you can tell, like sometimes I flip more than once and it doesn't do anything. Whereas the Galaxy S3 is just very fluid. But overall, very, like pretty much the exact same thing. The Galaxy S3, I'm noticing some slight lag compared to the iPhone 5 in terms of frame rate. If you guys can just take a look, and you can judge for yourself, of course. Now, let's go and compare the voice features on both of the phones. The Galaxy S3 has S Voice, whereas iPhone has Siri. Okay, so let's compare the voice features on both of the phones, Siri versus S Voice. What is the weather like today?
It's not looking good today.
iPhone 5 definitely doing a really good job of that. Galaxy S3 definitely lagged a lot behind. What was the Toronto Blue Jays score?
The Blue Jays are down 1-0 right now.
Once again, iPhone 5 doing a lot better job. Galaxy S3 couldn't even figure it out. Let's try navigation, see how that pans out. Navigate to Toronto.
No, perhaps not.
Well, that didn't work. Let's try once again. Navigate to Toronto. Didn't even work on the S3.
I couldn't find any places
Also
matching
didn't work
Toronto.
on Siri. Let's try another city, perhaps. Navigate to North Bay.
Getting directions to North Bay.
So the S3, wow, destroyed the iPhone 5. It did the whole process. The iPhone 5.
Starting route to North Bay.
There you go. Wow, S3
Head east
just
on Land's End Street.
wrecked the iPhone 5. Let's try and do another one actually. Navigate to New York.
Getting.
Sorry, such a delay here. Navigate to New York.
It's okay.
Didn't even work on the iPhone 5. Galaxy S3 was getting started on the whole process, so boom.
Apple.com
It actually surprisingly picked up
and more.
the navigation to New York way before Siri even did anything. It didn't even tell me the right thing. So wow, the S3 beyond impressive for navigation. Now in terms of the actual map stuff, let's take a look at that. Let's see what Apple Maps is all about. Let me try to get the navigation started again. So it takes its time getting started, whereas the S3 like does the process really
Starting
quick.
route to North
And
Bay.
sometimes you have to click start on here.
Head east on Land's End Street.
So let's, like, if you look at the navigation on the iPhone 5, it just stops working at a certain point, whereas the Galaxy S3 lets you zoom out for as much as you want. For this, you might have to hit overview. Let me check. Yep, there you go. Which is kind of annoying when you're driving. Having to hit all these buttons is sort of annoying. Whereas with this, it's exactly what you need to see all the time. Let's see what the zoom situation's like. So the Galaxy S3 does have some performance hiccups. Let's just. But both are very nice. The Galaxy S3 displays a lot more compared to the iPhone 5. Apple Maps has some serious issues right now. You can read them, read about it all over the news. They've been having a lot of issues in England. For an overhead map, performance is comparable. So I'm not going to waste any more time with that. Let's take a look at camera shutter speed, because the iPhone 4S camera shutter speed was definitely sort of weak when compared to the Galaxy Nexus, even though the Galaxy Nexus had a very poor camera. The Galaxy S3 has a really good camera. Let's try. The Galaxy S3 seems to be a lot quicker. One more thing I want to show you is the camera apps themselves. The Galaxy S3 has a lot more options for camera, whereas the iPhone 5 doesn't really have much. Like, you have options for grid, HDR, panorama. It's grid, HDR, panorama, and flash. That's about it. Whereas the Galaxy S3 gives you all this crazy amount of stuff. Like, you can change your colors and everything. You have options for night modes and things like that. I'll try taking a couple of pictures at night to show you to see if there's any differences in terms of that. Please keep watching the video for head-to-head picture comparisons, as well as video recording comparisons between the two phones. And let me know in the comments which phone you think you prefer and which phone you think destroys the other. They're both really nice phones. If you prefer Android, obviously you probably want to stick with the Android ecosystem, and with iOS, you're probably locked down to that system. In terms of app stores, both are pretty comparable now. The Apple App Store has been redone for iOS 6, and Google Maps has been changed to the Play Store for a while too. And they both look really nice. If we go ahead and just look at the actual theme and the layout and everything, if you notice right away that the Galaxy S3 Play Store opened up ridiculously quick. The iPhone 5 new store actually looks really nice, but it has some serious screen real estate issues. It doesn't show that much up at once. Whereas if you go to charts, let's compare charts on both. For top 8, you can see a lot more on the Galaxy S3, whereas on the iPhone 5, there's really big thumbnails and you don't see them all at the same time, and you kind of have to scroll through them all to get to what you might need to sometimes. There's just a lot more here, but design-wise, I think the iPhone 5 App Store actually looks a lot nicer. The Android App Store has some room for improvement in terms of like UI layout and stuff like that. So there you have it, guys. That's my review of both the phones. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. The Galaxy S3 has a LED notification up here, whereas the iPhone 5 has nothing. So you have to pretty much rely on sound and the vibration to notify you of alerts. The Galaxy S3 it's a very powerful phone. I think both phones are very nice, and they both have their separate different ecosystems. iOS has been feeling the exact same since the original iPhone. Apple really needs to do something about that. Whereas Android, it's constantly evolving. So if you like new things all the time, you might prefer the S3. It just lets you do a lot more, whereas the Apple iPhone is pretty locked down. So please let me know in comments what you guys think. Thanks.